Asher Kirishanu Mitzvotav. V'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. 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 Okay, so dreams. Who remembers their dreams? Often. Who remembers their dreams sometimes? Who remembers their dreams occasionally? How many of you know that you do dream? Step in the right direction. Okay.
And how long do you remember?
And how long do you? So we're going to talk about what dreams mean. There's a lot of stuff about dreams in the Talmud, in our Torah, in our teachings. I feel like you guys are way, way over this. So I'll try. How about if I do this? You guys can still hear me there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to start and just start with the very first page. Who wants to read some of the quotes on top about dreams in the Torah? Someone, let's go.
I will.
Okay. Very well.
Although I have hidden my face from Israel, I will communicate with him through dreams. I don't know how to pronounce that. Dreams are a 1/60th part of prophecy, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions.
Okay. So first of all, in the Talmud, it's saying very clearly that God is saying that he will communicate to us through dreams. There's a lot of ways of communicating, but that he will use that dream time. What happens is, I have teenagers. Okay, how many of you have had teenagers or have teenagers? And how many? Tell me it's not just my boys, but for many teenagers, they sort of tune out what's going on when you're talking to them, right? Or is it just my sons?
It's just your sons.
It's just my sons. You need validation.
I just did that now.
Oh, I'm not going to repeat that. Right? So, in the same way, we tune out God's presence in the physical world. We walk through this beautiful space here at Stonehouse, in Westlake Village, wherever we are, and we don't pay attention to the many colors of brown that are above us, or colors of green and yellow on the vines. We miss out. We become desensitized. And we're desensitized to God's presence. So God says, I'm going to speak to you through dreams. And they're considered 1/60th of prophecy. Okay? That does not mean that 60 dreams equal one prophetic statement. Okay? They're just 1/60th. When we're dreaming, we're a little bit more receptive to the subtleties of what's going on. Please continue reading. Yep, go on. You started?
Okay. Yeah, Genesis chapter 28, regarding Jacob. And he dreamed, and behold, a letter set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven, and behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie to give, will I give it, and to your seed.
So first of all, this is a dream that Jacob has. And there's two big parts. Number one is he is giving to Jacob's seed, not to Abraham's seed, all of this land that we now consider Israel. And when someone says, well, wait a minute, it's promised to Abraham, that's true, but then it's re-promised to Jacob. Ishmael is part of Abraham's seed. He's his bastard son. But Jacob doesn't come from that line. He comes from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? We all descended from Jacob in that way. So first of all, we have this dream, this prophecy of it, but also it tells us something about angels. That angels are born here because the angels are ascending and descending. They're not descending and ascending. Not one word is out of place in the Torah, which means that the angels are birthed here. When we sing, when we dance, we create angels. And they go up and come down, right? So this is the story of Jacob having his dream. If you go to the next chapter 32, this is another dream. He's gone to sleep, and he has another dream.
And Jacob left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of day. And when he saw that he had prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaks. And he said, I will not let you go except you bless me. And he said to him, what's your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, your name shall be no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince you have power with God and with men, and have prevailed.
Okay, so this is where we get the name Israel, because Israel literally means he who wrestles with God. Jacob means a heel, the heel of your shoe, and it's also a kind of a derogatory term because it's saying you're a heel, which is not so good. So again, we get new names. So first, what happens in the first one with Jacob, we get an understanding of the universe, and we also get a prophecy. In the second one, we get a change of consciousness. Okay, this is, you know what, Orlando, I should have looked at it carefully. There were 2 pages that were missing on it. It's okay. I remember them, so it's okay. I think. So let's look at another dream as we go on. Who's the great dreamer in Judaism? Joseph. How many of you have seen Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat? If you haven't, you should. You can see it online. There's a version that was done with Donny Osmond as Joseph and Joan Collins as Potiphar's wife. It's actually pretty fun. This is Joseph has dreams. Someone continue on page 2 and start reading this. Someone. Go.
And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. And he said to them, "Hear, I beg you, this dream which I have dreamed." Interpreted 2 dreams about 11 sheaves bowing to his sheaf of corn, as 11 brothers bowing down to him, stars, moon, sky, bowing to his star. While Joseph is in prison, the butler...
So first of all, how many remember those dreams? Joseph has a dream with his brothers that their 11 sheaves of corn are bowing down to his. Therefore, he says, this is a prophecy that you will all bow down to me. Then he says that the 11 stars, the sun and the moon, are bowing down to his star. Again, a prophecy that, in fact, he will be, that not only his brothers, but even his parents would bow down to him. He has other dreams also that would go on. Please go on about Joseph with the butler and the baker, or the butler and the wine bearer. While Joseph is in prison.
While Joseph is in prison, the butler and baker ask for dream interpretation. Baker has 3 baskets being of goods that are eaten by birds. He will be killed by Pharaoh in 3 days. Butler presses wine from the 3 branches into Pharaoh's cup. He will be serving Pharaoh again in 3 days.
So now we're looking at symbology in the dreams. Okay, that it's not literal, but it's symbolic. 3 cups, or 3 days, 3 branches, 3 days. Similarly, in Pharaoh's dream, Pharaoh, if anyone gets lost, doesn't know, just tell me. Pharaoh has a dream. No one can interpret it. 7 fat cows get eaten by 7 thin cows. 7 big stalks of corn get eaten by 7 thin stalks. And it's all a teaching, again, that Joseph understands how to interpret that you're going to have 7 good years followed by 7 bad years. And so Joseph rises to power because of his dream interpretation. So what are we looking at here? Even the very beginning of the Torah, this is the book of Genesis, even the beginning of the Torah, we see that dreams themselves can be a number of things. They can be communication from God. They can be a communication that changes our consciousness, i.e. our name changes. They can be prophetic. They can give us insight, like Joseph's dreams. Okay? Please continue reading about 1 Kings. So we're seeing all sorts of different types of dreams that we can have, and they all have meaning. Please continue.
In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, "Ask what I shall give you." And Solomon said, "You have shown to your servant David, my father, great mercy, because he walked before you in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart towards you. And you have kept for him this great kindness, that you have given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. And now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. And your servant is in the midst of your people, which you have chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. God, therefore, your servant an understanding heart to judge your people. Give therefore your servant an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this your so great people? And the speech pleased the Lord, and Solomon had asked this thing.
So this is the idea of you can have dialogue with God in dreams. Okay? That God can talk to you. If you're willing to listen, God doesn't shout, God whispers. And so if you're willing to listen, you can have those kind of dreams. Let's look at some things from Talmud. Okay? So please continue to read. Go ahead, Fiona.
A certain man died in the neighborhood of Rab Judah, And there were none to be comforted. Rav Judah had assembled 10 men every day, and they sat in his place. After 7 days, he, the dead man, appeared to him in a dream and said to him, Thy mind be at rest, for thou hast set my mind at rest.
So what else can dreams be used at? To communicate with the non-living, with the dead. Who's ever had a dream of a dead relative? Those are real. They really are. We just need to learn to listen. And all too often, our culture says, oh no, poo, poo, poo. You can't. But this is mainstream Judaism. Unfortunately, it's not taught often enough, but it is mainstream Judaism. I mean, you can't the Torah or Talmud, can you? But it is very, very important. There are pages and pages about dream interpretation. Please continue with the next one.
Once Rabbah came to Habrunia and ordered a fast, but no rain fell. Thereupon he said to the people, Continue with your fasting overnight. Next morning he said to them, If there is any one of you who had a dream, let him tell it. Thereupon Rabbi Eliezer from Habrunia replied, To me in my dream the following was said, Good greetings to the good teacher from the good Lord, who from his bounty dispensed good to his people. Rabbah then exclaimed, It seems that this is a favorable time to pray. He prayed, and rain fell.
So again, we can get insights into the world. Now, the next few pages, which we're not going to go over per se, we'll just do a little bit, is much of the tractate Berachot in the Talmud deals with what it means, what symbols mean when you're dreaming. Okay? And it's very, very specific. It's pages and pages. If you dream of a monkey, it means this. If you dream of a crocodile, it means this. If you dream of a snake, it means this. So let's someone want to read just first couple of things about Rav Judah.
I will. So I start. Much of the Talmud tractate Berachot deals with dream interpretation. Specifically, almost all of the dreams, pages 55a to 57b, deal with specific.
That's 6 full pages of little tiny font. Okay.
Deal with specific symbol interpretation of dreams. Here are only some of the examples from that folio. Rav Judah said of the name of Rab, there are 3 things for which one should supplicate: a good king, a good year, and a good dream. A good king, as it is written, a king's heart is in the hands of the Lord as the water courses. A good year, as it is written, the eyes of the Lord thy God are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even until the end of the year. A good dream, as it is written, wherefore cause thou me to dream and make me to live. Rav Hizda said, any dream rather than one of a fast. Rav Hizda also said, a dream which is not interpreted is like a letter which is not read.
One of my favorite lines in the entire Talmud. Can you repeat that again really loudly?
A dream which is not interpreted is like a letter which is not read.
So think about that. Do you guys hear it back there? A dream which is not interpreted is like a letter which is not read, a letter left unopened. How many of you have had a dream in the last month that you remember? Did you talk about it to anybody? Only a few. Okay, but that's a great way of doing it because everyone has different insights. So who wants to share a dream they had in the last month? Doesn't matter.
I will.
Okay, go. Rick, go.
I had a discussion about something I couldn't remember. That if my mom was alive, I could have asked her. And I just clueless. I dreamt I felt like my mom was there. I woke up not realizing which was the dream and which one was up. And my mom answered my question. And then I have a pad of paper because if I don't write something down, I forget the dream. But my mom answered my question that I couldn't remember about something.
Someone interpret it for me. What happened? His mom answered his question. Kind of simple. Well, another dream this past month. Go.
Mine is political, and so I love everyone. I don't care how you voted, but
I just love some people more than other people.
I love you all the same. May not like you, but no, I love you. But no.
My love for you depends on what you do.
I don't really give a damn.
I'm kidding.
You know why? I only have one judge, and it's not you. So
Yeah, but you guys sit on the same side of the aisle, so
But anyway,
right in the center between Genghis Khan and Attila the Hun. Go ahead.
But anyway, no. I was kind of suffering from political anxiety, and about 6 weeks ago, I remember vividly, I had the dream that I was attending Trump's inaugural parade, and I wouldn't talk about it with many people. I wasn't going to say, "Oh, Trump's going to win. Trump's going to win," because not everybody wanted Trump to win. But I have a few friends and relatives that I can speak to that. And the bottom line that I got from that is, God kind of answered my anxiety, although I still had some, even now, going up to the election day. But I thought that was, I think God was trying to help me.
So what was that? It was both God helping with anxiety. It was also prophetic, wasn't it? It was a prophetic time. Give me another dream that someone had over the past month.
An invitation?
There you go.
I was
Next
in
dream.
it was either a ship or a submarine, and I don't think I was there by choice. So I was thinking about how am I going to get off this ship, or how am I going to get off this boat? Somehow I got out and I was in the water, but I wasn't drowning. I could still see. And then I saw this lady. I don't know if she was on a buoy or something. I was like, how the heck did she get out? But after that, I kind of just woke up.
Okay, so one of the common understandings, again, Talmud, others as well, one of the common understandings is that water is emotions. So, knowing that, someone give me an interpretation of his dream. Are you having emotional issues at all? Have you been having emotional?
Were you in the Navy?
No.
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 Okay. A typical thing would be that you sometimes feel trapped within your own emotions, and that you also can get out, but that doesn't mean you're in control of them the way she was. You want to see how I went there? Okay. It's not rocket science, is it? Give me another dream. Come on, we're interpreting. A dream left undiscussed is like a letter left unopened. Come on, give me another one. Who else had a dream this past month?
All right.
Nice and loudly.
It wasn't last month, but maybe
That's okay.
2-3 months ago, and it wasn't my first time with that dream. It happened maybe 3-4 times. That I dreamt that my dad passed away 15 years ago. But in the dream, he was still alive, but he wasn't here. I said, oh, he went to Israel. I know he's there. How come I don't just call and ask how he's doing and everything? And this happened 3 times, 4 times.
What time of year did it happen?
Maybe 3 months ago, last time.
So before Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so there's a wonderful midrash that every Jewish soul, before it goes to the world to come, goes through, guess where? The Temple Mount.
Wow.
What's that?
There's a wonderful midrash. It's got 2 parts to it. One is that every Jewish soul, before it goes to the world to come, passes through the wall and the Temple Mount. Another one is that all prayers, all Jewish prayers, go from you through the Temple Mount to God. Now, knowing that that's a midrash that's over 2,000 years old, what would someone say about his dream? Come on, you guys we're chosen. Come on. What? He's connecting with his dad. It's pretty simple then, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe mine is he wanted to say, come visit my place. You haven't been there.
And also that his dad as well.
Have you been to the Beit HaMikdash?
Maybe he was communicating.
He just asked you, have you been to Israel? Have you been to the Kotel?
Yes. Long time.
Why don't you come back?
Once we come back. By the way, and I've asked this more and more because after come the new year, we may plan this. How many of you would want to go on a trip to Israel this summer and go see some Maccabi games as well?
Oh,
Okay. We're trying to get. I mean, they're not. It's not. Trips to Israel are not cheap, especially now with all these airlines that have decided they're not flying to Israel. But that will change, I think.
Maybe the economy changes. We'll have more money to rent a boat.
And more peace, and the airlines will fly.
Peace will break out everywhere soon.
So, come on, give me another dream. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what we do as Jews. Who else had a dream this past year? You have said something very specific about your dream. You repeated it. How many of you had a dream that repeated itself in different ways? Maybe subtle ways, but over and over. Okay. Those are things that are even more important to pay attention to. It's kind of like, okay, I left you a voicemail, you didn't pay attention. I'm leaving you another voicemail, not paying attention. I'm going to leave you another voicemail, that kind of thing. So let's talk for a second about something Rick said. There are a lot of ways of remembering dreams. And I apologize, and this is entirely my fault. I did not double check the handout because there's actually another like 3 or 4 pages to it. But it's okay because I remember most of it, I think. How many of us have a dream, we wake up in the morning, and we find that we know we dream, but we can't grasp it? Okay. Tools to do that. Rick, what do you say that you do?
I have a pad next to my table in my bed, and I roll around. You know, I have to get up sometimes, but I write it down and I think about it, and then I remember it. If I wait, 30 seconds, the dream's gone. I don't understand why that is. Because some of my dreams are so vivid, I wake up and it takes me a second to realize what part's the dream and what part's real, and then I forget the whole thing.
Okay, so remember what you just said about what part's real, because I want to come back to that. Okay, techniques to remember your dreams: have a notepad, have a dream journal next to you. That never really worked for me, honestly. So what I do is I call my own voicemail. Okay, and then the morning comes, and it's like I got a message, and I hear this voice that sounds like I'm drunk or half dead or something. I'm dreaming. Okay, but it's a way of remembering. Just pick up your phone, dial yourself, and just tell your dream.
How long is that? How long is your dictation? 10 seconds? 60 seconds?
It could be either or both or longer. And it depends on also how detailed the dream is. Here's one of the things we need to do is to remember the details, because details matter. So you were on a boat. You weren't sure if it was a ship or a submarine, but it was a water vessel. Okay. But it wasn't a jet ski.
No.
Okay. So in looking at those different details, if we're going to just go under the assumption that it's emotions, water is emotion, right? Is it an issue? A jet ski is just by yourself. A ship or a submarine is with other people. Would you be dealing with emotions by yourself or emotions regarding with other people? Just based on the idea of a submarine and ship as opposed to a jet ski. Other people, right? So these details matter. You want to remember as many details as you can. How many of you have had a dream within a dream within a dream? In other words, you're dreaming, and you wake up, and then you realize I'm still dreaming.
Yeah.
Okay? Again, that is one of those things that you got to really pay attention to. Think of it this way. I'm going to stand back here for a second, right? And everywhere between this post and that post is a veil or water. With me? And this is me being aware of this reality. But if Barry's me sleep, how aware is he of what I'm going through? It's going to be filtered through that water or that veil. Does that make sense to everyone when I use that analogy? So as a result, the dream that I have here, I'm going to imagine I'm Barry actually as well. The dream that I have here, by the time I understand it, I'm going to interpret it through things going on in my mind, things going on in my consciousness, things that may have been in the world, whatever it may be, because it's going through all of this veil, so to speak. There are times when the veil is thinner. It's thinner right before we wake up. It's thinner. You want to remember your dreams? One way to do it is to set an alarm. What time? Tell me sometime. Does anyone get up at the same time every day? Okay.
My alarm goes at 6.
Okay, your alarm goes itself at 6 a.m. every day. It's been doing that for however long. Set your alarm at 5:15 and another one at 6. Let it wake you up and go back to sleep. How many of you know that when you've woken up and gone back to sleep and then you wake up again, you remember your dreams more clearly, don't you? Right? That's just a reality.
I like the phone call, except right before Rick is rabbi, so I might accidentally rabbi.
I'll probably be up. I vaguely remember sleep. Everyone told me that after the boys were done being babies and toddlers, I'd get sleep. That was a bald-faced lie. And now they're teenagers, and I'm getting even less sleep, and I'm not sure what's right. So the idea being that if we can be more aware, so there's a clear path through the water, then we can understand our dreams better. Okay? So let's say I'm before I go to sleep, and Barry's what I am when I'm asleep. Okay? And there's going to be all this pathway. One of the simple ways to help remember your dreams is that you go to sleep to create a pathway between the water, a tunnel, a bridge. How? Just by saying to yourself, I will remember my dreams. How many of you ever tried that? And does it help?
Sometimes.
If your intention is, I will remember my dreams, or I will remember and be awake in my dreams, or I will remember and understand my dreams. Now I'm creating a simpler pathway to kind of get some of that gunk out of the way between the veils. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Our dreams we see it all throughout here, through the Talmud and through everything else. So, Rick, you were talking about, I asked you to remember something, and I already forgot it, about when you're dreaming.
Oh, some are so real, and then I think I'm waking up because if it's a nightmare or something, and then I haven't woken up, and then when I finally wake up, it takes me a second to realize that I'm not in the dream, and what just happened was in the dream. You know, I'm like still in the dream, and then when I'm out of the dream, I'm not sure if I'm in the dream. It takes me sometimes a few seconds to realize.
So let's play on that just a little bit more of what our sages teach.
I was so worried about that, I went to see a neurologist.
So let's go with that a little bit farther based on what our sages teach through this text and through other things. So, how many? I may be the only one, but I can say, anyone can say, if you also experienced this, where a dream was so real you actually found yourself acting on it as if it was an actual memory in this world. Anyone else done that? Okay. I actually have a friend, his name's David, and he was going through problems with his wife. And one morning, she woke up and she was hitting him. And he said, what are you hitting me for? I dreamed you were having an affair. You did the same.
No, she was really angry. I mean, it's happened.
I wasn't referring to you.
Really, really angry, and then she like hit me, and I'm like, "What did I do?" She was so mad at me in her dream that I don't even remember what I did.
Yeah, I have. There have been multiple times in my life where I've started talking with someone as if we had experienced this a week ago, when in fact we had not. I had the dream a week ago. Okay. Point being that there is a reality to all that. Now, if in fact I'm on this side of the veil, Barry's on that side of the veil, and Wayne's on that side of the veil too. Okay, and Wayne's also over here. He and I can interact with each other here, right? Can we interact with each other over there?
You have to have a long veil.
Can those two souls interact with each other? And the question is, so I will tell you something that changed my life. Literally changed my life. I was 22, 23. Didn't remember my dreams most of the time at the time. And some people I knew were going back to an Indian reservation for a memorial service. And we're going for the memorial of someone who had died. And while they were gone, I had a dream. And in that dream, we were in a circle. They were there, a bunch of other people I didn't know. It was a big circle. I was in the northeast part of the circle. And everyone was pounding on the ground, drumming on the ground. And periodically, people would get up and walk through a fire to the other side of the circle. It's kind of cool dream, right? It's not right. It's kind of cool. And I remembered it. I remembered it in detail. So when they get back from Arizona, I would call them and ask them. And so they actually called me when they came back from Arizona. And I said, I got to talk to you about something. And I said, and before I said and I didn't tell anyone this dream. And before I said anything, they said to me, well, that's great, Michael, but what did you think of the purification ceremony? I said, the what? They said, we were in a big circle. You were in the northeast, people walking through the fire. I said, it was great. Got to go by. Because there's a reality. Either there is a reality on that other side of the veil that you can be conscious of. And I do, as some of you know, I'm a pretty good magician, right? I know when someone's snookering me. Exactly. I didn't tell anybody. How the heck did they know? Or I needed to look at the reality, which is that every culture, ours and every other indigenous culture on the planet, believes that there's a dream reality, a reality that vibrates at a different speed, a different pace than ours. How many of you play an instrument? How many of you play? What do you play? Piano is a great example. How many of you have seen a piano? Okay. Everyone hears the middle notes, or wherever the focus is. But someone who plays piano realizes that the notes on the outside are having a great effect, even though they're not heard consciously. If you listen to an orchestra and it makes you feel sad and you're not sure why, the music makes you feel sad or joyous and you're not sure why, but the musician understands, well, it's because the horns are blaring or because it's in a minor key or whatever else it is. So the point is that I can be here, and if I really learn, and I learn how to clear this way through the veil, I can be aware of what I'm doing over there, can't I? Which also means if I start talking with Wayne, I can be aware of it. Now, for how many of you is that just too far out to believe? Be honest. Okay. I'll see you tonight later on. Okay. Just make sure you write down. Just make sure you write it down afterwards. Okay. No, not right now, but yeah. So it is a reality, guys, and it's very clear. But we need to discuss it. So yes, go ahead.
Are you going to talk about the concept that your neshama leaves your body?
Got it.
And that's why when we say the prayer, when you start the
okay.
That's it.
So
you know what I was asking.
Yeah. So now we've got this pathway, because you're really talking about what's going on. My body's still here, but my neshama's there. Neshama meaning soul. My consciousness, to make it easy on people, right? So my consciousness now is on the other side of this veil, of this water. It's over where Barry is. And my body already has mechanisms in it to be still. I'm over there, and I'm dreaming I'm running. But in bed, I'm not going like this, right? Our body shuts it down. Is there a doctor here who can explain? Because I know that there's reasons. But there's something in our body that prevents us from doing that. So my soul is now over there. Why can't my soul be conscious? It's just a matter of coming back and my soul remembering what it did. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm trying to fit what I'm going to say next in anything I've heard somehow.
Okay, good. Well, let me get on this. Yeah.
A dream, I have dreams every night.
And you remember them?
Every dream ends with me in the dream deciding I have to pee. And I get up and I go, I pee. And it happens twice a night, sometimes three. But my conscience is telling me, well, I got to travel 10 feet or 15 feet to the, and I'm saying, and I think about it while I'm walking. What the hell was I thinking? And then I get there and think, I want to go back to sleep. And so I think I intentionally let it escape so that I can get back in bed. I don't want to be awoken from sleep because I want to go back to sleep. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely, it makes great sense. How many of you, when you've woken up from a dream, find yourself thirsty?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay? Your body needs that water. Water, mayim chayim, water of life, Torah, whatever you want to call it, is what we need. And our soul's gone and done a big journey, right? It's gone through all this stuff to get over there, and now it's back over here, so we're thirsty. We need to replenish ourselves. One of the techniques to remember, this is based on physiological needs, one of the best techniques to remember your dreams is you take a glass of water, okay? Take 7 breaths into it. As you're inhaling and you're exhaling, you just imagine you're exhaling yourself into the water. And then drink the water. Okay? Now, from a spiritual point of view, we believe that now is you are opening yourself up to have that pathway and to remember. From a physiological point of view, you don't go into the same depth of sleep because you got to pee. So it's actually a fabulous technique. You shouldn't realize you were doing it consciously. Okay? Because your body doesn't want to do it. Now, you don't have to pee. No, you think you do, but I'm saying if you stayed in the dream, if you were able to say, okay, I'm dreaming, my body wants to pee. I feel like I'm dealing with toddlers again, pee and poo. I'm in the dream, I want to stay in the dream. And I'm aware of my body. It wants to urinate, but I want to stay in the dream. You will stay as long as you can in that space aware over there. When you got to pee, when you really have to pee, you're going to wake up. Most people do not pee in the bed. Okay, I was very young, very old, very tired, very drunk. Okay. As a general rule, so I guess, never mind, I guess everyone pees in the bed all the time. So, but as a general rule, we don't pee in the bed, even though we feel that we need to. It's kind of like, you know what the feeling is? When you do, I think it's a CT scan. Has anyone else had a CT scan done? And they give you whatever drug, and they tell you, you're going to feel like you need to urinate. Bless you. Right? They tell you that. And how many of you have done that exam? And you feel like you got to pee, don't you? But you don't. You really don't. That's what's going on in your body. So now it becomes a matter of, can you be conscious that, okay, I'm dreaming right now? How many of you have been in a dream and realized I'm dreaming? This is called the idea of being awake in a dream. This is called lucid dreaming. Okay, lucid dreaming. And when you are awake in a dream, so my body's asleep over here, my soul's over there, and I realize I am in a dream state. What are my limits? Come on, intellectually, what are my limits? None. I want to go see my father. I can't. I want to go to the hotel. I can't. I want to fly across the country. It's not even an issue of flying. People talk about flying in their dreams. It's actually not. Your consciousness immediately goes there. But that's when you awake and you say, okay, I'm dreaming right now. How many of you have had that experience where you realize you're dreaming? And what happens when you're doing that? What do you do?
I stopped
Yeah.
You dream deep. He's dream deeper. He's someone over here. Stop. Rebecca, what did you do?
Pretty much, I stopped where I said, "Oh, I was having a dream." Like, and then I realized, like, sometimes I wake up and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so." Like, usually it's a nightmare, and I think, "Oh my God, I'm so glad it was just a dream." And that happens.
We have a wonderful line. How many of you have nightmares? Okay, so we have a wonderful line. You'll find it on the last page, and it's actually you'll see it here. It's a teaching based on Zechariah that after a nightmare, a person should say that dreams are meaningless. The specific quote is that this dream has no meaning. Okay, so it's not a prophecy. You're discounting it, because here's the reality. What world am I more in control of? Here or where Barry is? Here. I'm more in control here, right? So if I'm having whatever experience there, I can just say, nope, it's not going to affect me here, and it won't. Conversely, if it's an experience there that I want to have affect me here, I can embrace it. Does that make sense to everyone? Dreams are very powerful when we dream outside during certain times of the year. During Sukkot, dreams are very, very easy, especially with our ancestors. If you sleep in a sukkah, Orlando, I think most of you heard that story. I have dreams constantly in sukkah. Who's ever slept in a sukkah? And it's very, very open to dream. It's very, very welcoming to dream. So, point is this, that you're aware of it. Now, before you get up to go pee, are you aware that you're saying, okay, I'm dreaming and I got to go pee? Or are you just, I woke up because I had to go pee?
And I want to get back to sleep.
You can stay in sleep. So how do we stay in that space? And what are some of the techniques to help us stay in that space? One is, if you're dreaming, you can set your intention beforehand. Before I go to sleep, when I'm dreaming, I'm going to do either of the two following things. One, look at your hands. It will lock you into place in an awareness of that space. Or two, I want to look at my face in a mirror. Whether it's an actual mirror, whether it's a body of water, whether it's a piece of metal in your dream, doesn't matter. But as soon as you're doing that, you will be awake in your dream. It's a technique for lucid dreaming. Okay? Another technique. How many of you sleep on your tummies? Okay? How many of you sleep on your back? Side? So because of what we learned from our Kabbalim and through our different energy centers, You will be more conscious and aware that you are dreaming and retain it better if you sleep on your left side without legs being crossed. So if you sleep like this, oh no. I hear her.
It's the raccoon again.
Do you guys hear her? For those of you who were not here when this happened last year,
Yeah,
I was standing
I
about
see
the
him.
same place,
He's right there.
and the raccoon decided to bathe on me. Not bathe on me. He decided to bathe me. He was dreaming, got up and decided he had to pee. And all of a sudden it's on film. And all of a sudden I'm standing here and I'm drenched in raccoon urine.
He's trying to create a mikvah.
Is he doing it again? Which I showed to my
He's over
son.
here.
Yeah, great. I showed that to one of my sons,
Yeah.
and he decided to cut it and show it back in slow motion.
That's awesome.
Smoke him out. Where are you?
He
No,
was
that's
on this
probably
side.
what made him pee the last time was all the smoke.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Forgive me for being a little nervous. I'm not wearing the same hardcore vest that I was wearing last time.
Maybe he's dreaming.
Yeah. Dennis, did you set up this raccoon? Is that... So if you sleep on your left side, that is one way to help dreaming. Because of the energy centers of the spherot. Excuse me. By putting it here, by having it here, it goes through this way. So you're still retaining on this way. Because you're receiving it from here, but you're filtering it through there, so it actually is able to stay.
Back one step. So the dream itself is some kind of a connection between your soul, my soul, and some other soul, whatever it was.
Maybe it's a connection between you and you. Maybe it's a connection between you and God. Maybe it's a connection between you and life. And look, I'm over here right now, right? And I come over here, but when I'm over here, I'm alone, right? That's a choice. And so I'm having insight and understanding. Or I'm having a discussion with Wayne. Or I'm having a discussion with the whole table. Could be any or all of the above. That's what we see. So it could be God saying, this is what's going to happen to you, Dennis. So one way is to sleep on your left side. One way is to do the water. And another technique is something called a hand knot. Every one of our digits has a different digits. What else are there 10 of?
Toes.
I wasn't thinking physically. What else? There's 10 energy centers. And 10 come in, and they correspond to each other. Okay? And they each have different energies. And without going into all of what each finger is, which is a different class on the physiology of Kabbalah, there's a way of combining energies, which utilizes the pathway of water, actually. They correspond to water, in such a way that it encourages you to remember your dreams. It's called a hand knot. So everyone take your hands like this and interlock the fingers and the thumb. So the the left thumb, so it goes left thumb, left index, left second, right second, and so on. Everyone got that? So everyone's looking at their left thumb. Now, switch your index fingers. So now you've got left index, left middle finger, and so on. Everyone got that? And now switch your thumbs. So now what I'm looking at is right thumb, right index, left second finger, right second finger, left ring, left pinky, right pinky. So what I've done is I've now combined, my hands are interlocked, the 10 sefirot are interlocked, but I've combined my left index and second finger together. Okay, does everyone see that? So again, so you want to be looking at your hand, you got right thumb, right index, left second, left ring, right ring. Everyone got it? Okay, you guys got it on this side? So if you go to sleep like this, with your hand like this, you will remember your dreams more easily. Because you're combining these two sefirot with each other, these two energies with each other. You're leaving everything else alone, but you're putting these two, your left index and left middle finger, together. Now, this stuff is thousands of years old. This is not, this is not something that is new. Human beings have been dreaming forever, right? So it is another way to remember your dreams. After a good dream, a person should rhetorically ask, are dreams meaningless? So if it's a bad dream, we say dreams are meaningless. If it's a good dream, we say, are dreams meaningless? Is it not written? And we answer our own question, is it not written, I will speak to the prophet in a dream? So if it's a bad dream, it's meaningless. I'm disconnected.
Dream was like a warning, a subconscious warning.
If that's what you want it to be, it's a bad dream. I'm not connected to it. If it's a good dream, it's not meaningless. God speaks to us in that way. And this is a beautiful line again from Talmud, a person who wants his dream to be fulfilled should always record the details, including the date, time, and place where the dream occurred, because that matters. How many of you have been on a vacation or somewhere else and you've had a dream? Remember your dreams? No one?
When I travel, my job sometimes I'm out in San Bernardino, I grab a motel. When I'm not at home in my bed, I don't seem to dream. When I'm at home, I dream and something was so vivid, I think they're real. But I've noticed that when I'm not at home, I don't think I do.
So you'll relate to this more than most people because for years you didn't live in a condo, did you? How many of you have gone on cruises or gone boating? Can you remember if you remembered your dreams at that time? It's much easier again on water to remember our dreams. So the point of this is that we have the opportunity, but we need to realize the first piece, which is that it is our consciousness, our soul, that is leaving our body through this veil and on the other side. But when it comes back through all this veil or gelatinous material, whatever you want to call it, we lose a lot. But if I create the pathway before the evening begins, and then it's easy to come back through it. If I create the pathway and I'm over there and I remember to look at my hands, I remember to look at my reflection, it makes a difference. Now, one of the things Talmud goes into, keep your hand out, there's a number of different things like what animals mean, things like that. That's cultural. That's very much a cultural. So it's called a sigil, S-I-G-I-L. How many of you have heard that word before? Okay, everyone's learned something new. I can go home now. A sigil is a symbol that is accepted in the same meaning by a culture. If I have a red sign and it has, I think, 8 sides to it, red octagon sign, do I need to put alto or stop on it, or is everyone going to slow down immediately?
Yeah, everybody understands. It's
Right.
international.
It is international to an extent, I think, at this point. Okay, although it's not in third world countries where they don't have stop signs,
Or in cities where they don't.
where they don't pay attention. Exactly, I was going to go there. Right, the sign that says "No theft."
They'll
So,
run you over anyway.
No theft zone.
Doesn't work in
What?
New York City.
Yeah.
Besides, no theft zone.
Loser.
Venice Beach.
As opposed to the other zones are theft encouraged.
They budgeted it. It was a couple $100,000, and they now have signs that say no theft zone. At Venice Beach, because it was so much. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So theft is allowed only in these
Right,
areas.
exactly.
And they need to spend money on that. So there are sigils that happen. Okay. A dream that has symbols is going to be different if someone here has a dream of a camel. How many of you actually ever ridden a camel? Okay. If you haven't ridden a camel, that's going to be different than someone who lives with a camel. It's going to have a different symbology to you. Does that make sense to everyone? So you wouldn't have it. Our culture
When I was in Israel, I thought that.
is filled with thousands of years of history of our sages learning from sages who are no longer alive. Okay? And verifying that. There are countless stories in our tradition of a student who was to do deeper study with his rabbi. And so Eliyahu Hanavi or Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes or one of the great sages would come and teach that student and say, Now go tell your rabbi that you learned this, because the rabbi learned it as well from the same sage. Dreams affect us, whether we're conscious of it or not. I'm always connected to myself over there, right? To my soul that's over there. I'm not always conscious of it. But if that part of me, that consciousness, starts to get in an argument with Wayne, am I going to be aware of it in some way? Is it going to affect me? What do you think? Who said yes?
Yes, I would say
It will. Absolutely will. Similarly, if my consciousness with Wayne learns something, is it going to affect me? If my consciousness with Wayne has joy or pain, is it going to affect me? Here's the thing to think about. If all these cultures say the same thing, including ours, maybe it's true. Don't accept my word for it. Try it. Take 3 months and say, okay, I'm going to sleep on my left side. I'm going to have a dream journal next to me. I'm going to sleep on my left side, and I'm going to focus and drink some water every night. And see what happens. Take 3 months, 90 days, that's all. And see what happens. Because otherwise, it's nice intellectual dialogue. But I will tell you that our lives change radically when we embrace and accept our dreams. That there's another place of awareness. Like anything we learn. How many of you have started your own business at one point or another? Okay. And that came out of a dream, didn't it? Now, it may not have been a sleeping dream, but something inspired you. Our theology is that what inspired you to have that dream in your heart was what your soul, your consciousness was experiencing over there. So, over there is my consciousness. And the whatever soul that my father, let's say, says something to me that you should have a temple without dues. Right? And so inside my heart, I start having a dream. Does that make sense to everybody? That's how it works. It clearly affects us. And it's why every morning, the first prayer that we say, traditionally, every morning, as soon as you wake up, and it may be the most important prayer, Modeh ani lefanecha melachai v'kayam. Modeh ani, I am thankful, lefanecha, in front of you, before you. Melachai v'kayam, the king of living. Because God is the one who keeps that pathway open, so my soul doesn't get disconnected. Who returns my soul to me with faithfulness every morning. This is what we say every morning. Okay? My kids have done it since they're babies. They know they wake up, they immediately kiss their brother, and Modeh ani lefanecha melachai v'kayam. Okay? And do this prayer. There is more to this world. I don't mean just this part of the world. There's more to the world than just this. How many of you have somehow in a relationship, most of us are a little older than 20.
Yeah.
Rick's only 2 years older than that, so I'm trying to be polite. How many of you have suddenly had a feeling about somebody else, and you called them and you found out that feeling was right? A premonition, we call it. A sixth sense, we call it. Our Western culture has all sorts of terms, but what's the reality of what's going on? The aspect of me that's out there communicated with the aspect of that person. And they were right. How many of you had that experience? And you found that it was right. It's our choice. All the learning in the world is useless if we don't try. So the question is, are you willing to take 3 months out of your life? You don't need to answer the question. If you want to take 3 months out of your life, focus on drinking a glass of water before you go to sleep and drinking it. Trying to sleep on your left side, that can be hard for some of us. We've been spent our whole lives sleeping in another way. Try doing a hand knot if we can remember to do that. And try, most importantly, saying, I will remember my dreams. I will be awake in my dreams. Whatever phrase works for you. And then see if you start, and having the tools that you can remember, whether it's your phone or whether it's a piece of pad and paper. Are you willing to try that? Because what we've learned already from the very beginning of the evening was we can all interpret everybody else's dreams, can't we? Pretty easy. So the other key is once you have a dream, what should you do with it?
Call the rabbi.
Call the rabbi. Because he's going to be awake anyhow, so who cares?
He's doing his emails.
Oh, so what?
It's depending on the dream. Because there's some, like you said, some dreams are good. You want to remember them. Some dreams are bad. You forget them. But my question is, what relationship does our subconscious have to do with the dreams that we?
What is a subconscious and a superconscious?
Subconscious for me, there are things in my head. Like I was talking about inside.
Too cold, you're taking off. Go ahead, what's
I was
subconscious?
talking about anxiety. I had political anxiety. I think that was more in my subconscious, and then it
all right, so now we're gonna flip it to this side. I'm gonna be Barry's side on this side of it. Barry's and Shama on this side. Okay. Stop. The soul saying. See, it's easier to say the soul or the conscious and spirit. Stop. You don't need the anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't need it.
Yeah. Actually, effort to take it away.
Right.
I just got to take it away from me.
And because your soul knows what real. How many of you know we know when our prayers are real, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we know when our prayers are BS, don't we?
Yes.
We know with absolute certainty when we're in the zone and when we're not, don't we? Right? So you know when it hits you right.
Right.
You know that it's your aspect talking to yourself. It's your soul that has stepped away from your body. It's your consciousness that's away from your body. Subconscious and superconscious are terms that were designed by, Jung, Freud. Actually, I don't think Freud got it, but Jungian and other things to put a label on it. In our tradition, it's just your soul. It's a greater part of yourself.
So you said subconscious is our soul.
It's part of your soul, yeah. You can use whatever term you want, but it's the other part of you on the other side of the veil that's trying to say, hey, you know what? Chill. Okay? Other questions?
Thank you.
No other questions? So when you have a dream, talk to somebody you trust. Even if it's a bad one, by the way. You can say this is a meaningless dream, but I want you to know what it was. Because here's one of the things that can also happen. So over here I'm Wayne, right? And over here I'm Barry, okay? And Wayne's not remembering something that he needs to know. Wayne's soul keeps yelling, remember this, and he's not remembering. So what do? Hey, Barry, tell him. Sometimes your dreams are for other people. And if you don't share them, you're cheating them too. I may have a dream that makes no sense to me. All right? I might have a dream that I am suddenly a 20-something young woman. How's that for a scary image?
Wait. They lost the election.
They lost the election. and now they're all shaving their heads. So
Don't worry, they'll be deported.
But I might have a dream that I'm a 20-something-year-old woman who is scared because I feel like I'm outside of I don't know where I am. I'm not in America. I don't know where I am. And so I say, Rebecca, I had a dream that I was really uncomfortable. I was this 20-something-young-year-old woman with brown hair, and I'm really uncomfortable. I don't know where I was, but I just want to share with you in case you had an insight. And what would you say if I said that to you?
Oh my God, maybe you're having a dream about Margot.
Because her daughter
is
in Israel. Does that make sense? So you need to share it not just for you, but because it builds community, and it may be a gift for someone else. And we need to remember that too. And as part of that, we need to remember that we need to be open and transparent. If you feel like laughing, laugh. If you feel like crying, cry. Being willing to do that. Because the more open I am, the more receptive I am to my part of that my soul that's on the other side of the veil. Does that make sense to everyone? So here's the question. How many of you are going to actually we'll start easily, think about trying this for 3 months? How many of you think you're actually going to do it?
kind of
Actually,
do.
there's a course on lucid dreaming.
There's lots of courses on lucid dreaming, and there's lots. And one of the things that is, and Monroe, I forget Monroe's first name, was one of the big guys in the 70s and 80s who really was talking about it less as a dream and less of a spiritual understanding, but how to have a conscious out of body experience, how to be awake. It's all, but when you put it in our theology, it's all very simple, isn't it? There's my soul. It does what it wants to do. Yeah, Rick.
I had a vivid dream, and I was telling somebody about it. And they were telling me that sometimes you can dream, and it's only, you can be asleep, for 4 hours, and your dream could be like 5 seconds. So it's like a short time, but you think it's a long time.
King Solomon had a dream in which he lived an entire lifetime. Okay? And it was a dream in one night.
Yeah.
Time is not the same in that dream state, is it? Right? Night, Beatrice. Right? It's not the same. Because time is just relationship.
Time's the feeling.
If you're in love, you may have been with that woman for a minute and it felt like a year, or a year and it felt like a minute. If you're listening to a rabbi, you may have been with him for 10 minutes, but it feels like a year.
Or a lifetime.
Or 5 lifetimes. So my suggestion to everyone is, it's all I can ever do is present information from our tradition. But explore this. Look at some of the symbols that are in here in our tradition about animals and things like that. And explore the idea of, okay, I'm going to create that clear pathway in the moment. And see what happens. Isn't that worth trying for 3 months? Because what happens, tell me what would happen. How would your life change if you suddenly realized this was all 100% true? Would your life change? And for the better, wouldn't it? Goethe said, until one is committed, there's always hesitancy, but once one commits, Providence opens pathways we would never have dreamt of. Boldness has genius magic in it. Have the courage to try this. And, and then really examine it. Look, I'm telling you that what set me down a very clear pathway was when someone else knew my dream. I had a dream, they were in it, they knew my dream, and I hadn't told anyone. And they knew specificity, what direction I was in the circle, there was a fire in the circle, what people were doing, all of it. I had a choice. Either I could put that in a closet and say it's not real, or I could say I'm going to explore this. I don't have the ability to put things in closets very well. Ask Allison. So I chose to explore. Changed everything. It changed everything. So my prayer for all of us is that we choose to have the courage to do that. I hope this was valuable and worthwhile tonight. Take the handouts home. If you email Orlando, I will get the more detailed handout, and he'll get it to you if you want. We have services Friday night. For those of you who were sponsoring my boys, and I don't know who that was because I stayed out of this, thank you. They each played 101 holes.
You did?
Each played 100. No Ben and John, but they just think they are. They each played 101 holes. John had 27 birdies, but Ben got a hole in one.
Oh my God.
Get a hole in one
Got a hole in
Sherwood?
which is Shore Lake, which was his fourth. John has 10, but Ben got his fourth hole in one. And they had 2 kids join them that were friends from golf team. And I'm not sure how much they've raised or not. Because a number of people said they were donating or they were going to sponsor them, but they didn't sign up on the sheet or whatever it was. And some people said we're doing $1 for both, but does that mean $1 for Ben and $1 for John per hole, or does it just mean $1 total for both? But we think they raised a little bit over $30,000 for a hospital, all of which will go to a hospital. They did all the work. Meryl Friedman is doing and Orlando are doing all the follow-up and stuff. I just gave them my address book to go through it, and they email people.
So how long did it take them to do this?
It's 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours.
That's a workout.
Yeah, 7.5. Well, no, it wasn't. They were driving. They weren't walking. They were being driven.
Oh.
I'm exhausted.
I thought they were walking.
No, I'm exhausted. You couldn't do 101 holes.
No.
You can't.
There's no way you could do that. And they were playing. They figured out that they had to play each hole, and they had to do each hole in about 4 minutes to be able to make it through the light.
Jeez.
Wow.
They were the only ones on the course.
That's a lot
No,
of
but the
concentration.
course had told people if they came up, let them play through.
They did.
Yeah, they of course had already said to everyone. So
So 18 holes would take
So the outfit 6 hours.
minimum 4 hours.
they were out there They played golf for 7.5 hours, just for 7.5
That's great.
hours.
100.
But the point is that they raised, you know, and just to put that in perspective, because I know some of you actually, I don't know who, but I know you did, Rick. Actually, I know you did, Fiona. I think you did, Rebecca.
Yeah.
But I know some people did. So just to put it in perspective, a new state-of-the-art rehab bed. So let me explain for those of you who don't know. B'nai Zion Hospital is an older hospital in Haifa. They just finished a $20 million facility in summer of 2023 that is inside a nuclear-proof bunker.
Wow.
So it's in the north. And then the war started, they had no equipment.
Part of it's a level underground, right?
It's all underground. The nuclear is underground. No. I mean, the hospital that's been there for years is above ground, but this hole is underground. And they didn't have equipment when October 7th happened. They really didn't have. They just finished raising all this $20 million and building all this. And so we raised, through a number of different sources, over $700,000 last year for them. And I reached out to the temple, and I reached out to people I knew, and there was fundraising, different things. And Sebastian Gorka was very kind. He actually spoke about it on his radio show, and tons of money. $500,000 of that 700 came from his audience. And so with the boys, but to put it in perspective, they need state-of-the-art rehab beds. Each of these costs about $3,300. Each one of these beds gets used 25, 30 patients per year. Okay, figure a week to 2 weeks for every patient. And each of these beds remains usable for 4 or 5 years or more. So figure that each bed is 100 lives saved.
Then I did 25.
So no, $3,300 per bed. So if you do that math, it means 100 lives are saved by $3,300 being given. So roughly $33 a life. If $30,000, they saved probably 1,000 lives, and everyone who participated. So if someone said, I'm sponsoring $1 a hole, and you gave $101, that's 3 people that you will have saved over the next 5 years. That's kind of cool. When you think about it. So kol hakavod to all of you for helping them, and to them for doing it. And I hope this was worthwhile. Now go dream.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Now let's go have some dreams. Okay?